probes into outer space. We view planets and solar systems from afar using powerful telescopes. We capture data from distant reaches of the universe using radio waves, infrared waves, gamma rays, and other parts of the electromagnetic spectrum. We develop amazing tools, seen amazing things, and are for the first time beginning to understand the expansive space that we inhabit. Journey back thousands of years, and the Earth was a very different place. People looked up at the stars and can only imagine what was up there. All we had to gather information from above was our eyes and our curious minds. The stars were an imagination playground. We watched as they moved through the night sky. They aligned into familiar patterns and then shifted with the change of the seasons. It was our fascination with the stars that made astronomy the first science. When we have let our minds wander, myths and legends emerge from the arrangement of the stars. Scorpions, dragons, and bears would dance in the dark night, acting out scenes from these magnificent stories. Around the world, from the megalith of Stonehenge to the medicine wheels of the western prairies, there are signs of human reliance on the position of stars and planets in the sky. They served as a calendar for the unfolding seasons, the equinox, sun and winter solstices.
On the continent we know as North America, the many Indigenous nations felt a powerful connection to Nissawaysky. All that is above and below are woven the land. Our homeland covered with vast forests and prairies, the soaring mountains and the winding rivers. All the life within sustained us. Knowing that we are part of something much greater than ourselves, our people strive to understand the cycle of life, the seasons, and the challenges that came with living in an unpredictable land. We consider it a blessing to live under a blanket of stars. Casting our imagination skyward, we recognize that at Takosa, the spirit lights in the dark sky mirror events that happen on the earth below. As the seasons change, from winter to spring, to summer and fall, all the stars move across the sky, revealing what is, what was, and what is to come.
For the Nunavut, the Cree people, all the constellations are centered by Keewaydin, the going home star. It represents the northern direction, and Keewaydinuk, the north winds. Seen from the land, it is the only star that remains stationary in the northern sky. As the seasons pass, all the stars anchored by Keewaydin spin counterclockwise. Many of the stories that live in the stars remind Indigenous people of times past, when the land was colder and covered in ice. When people competed with greater beasts for the same precious food source. Across North America, these stories may change a little from nation to nation, but they share common threads that connect to the land and the ever-changing seasons. For the animals and people of the land, life begins in spring. Within the stars, there is a rattle, Sisiquan. The rattle is used to remind themselves of the renewed cycle of life, which starts when the ice begins to melt. Sisiquan, the sacred sound of the rattle, welcomes the arrival of Muskimen, spring. When Bibon, winter, gives way to Bisim, the warming sun, Its energy radiates out to all things on Earth. When the wind blows across the snow-covered lake, the crystals below vibrate and create the sound of the Susikwan. It is this sound that awakens all dormant life. In the dark sky, silhouettes can be seen against the Milky Way, traveling along the North-South Passage. In Cree, it is the Nibin Biesisuk Omiskinawa, the summer bird's path. Niska, the constellation on the northern horizon. To the Anishinaabe, this collection of spirit lights above is known as Oteg Atakotak, the Fisher Stars. They speak of a time when the Creator placed the fissure in the sky to remind us of what could be if we ever lose respect for what is loaned to us on the earth. Oda Okawi Mawa Skig. In a time before written history, spring did not arrive. This was the year of two winters, Nisu Bipuna. Streaming in from the north, the wind was harsh and it rattled the bones of Otig, the fisher. By the end of the winter season, food was usually hard to find. But this season, it was scarce. Spring did not arrive. Otig was a great hunter. But even for him, it has become a challenge to track down or scavenge a regular meal. Surprised by Watask, the muskrat, he had to ask, in this cold weather and snow, how is it that unlike the rest of us hungry animals, you appear well fed? Watask answered, I live between the two seasons of winter and summer. Often, when it's cold on the northern land, I travel to warmer places, where it is green and food is plentiful. Otseg frowned, but why is summer still in the south and has not made its way north? Watask said, the villagers and animals in the south no longer want to share summer. Otseg replied, with this ongoing cold, we will soon perish. Send word to all the northern birds and animals that we will meet at dusk, and then we shall make a plan to retrieve summer. So off went Watask to spread the news. That evening, all the animals gathered. Otseg needed partners that were willing to travel south to the land where summer was hidden. It was decided that the four to go forth would be Otseg, Oho the owl, Atik the caribou, and most notably, Watask, who could show them the way. After a long journey, Watask brought them to the edge of a lake. An island could be seen in the distance. Oho flew out to the island to survey the surroundings. Approaching the island, Oho saw a gathering of hunters on shore. They were waiting, canoes at the ready, for signs of intruders. In the middle of the island, there was a lodge. On guard at the front entrance, Oho spotted Owatitsak, the sandhill crane, and Aikis, the frog. And there it was, in all its glory, hanging on a wall inside the lodge, the bag of summer. But before he could swoop over and grab it, Oho was discovered. Oho told his companions what he had seen. Otseg replied, this is not going to be easy. With hunters on the beach and the guards at the lodge, we need a better plan. So the little team huddled together to plot out a new course of action. Carrying Otsig in his claws, Oho flew out to a high place on the island where both the beach and the lodge could be seen. Wadzak, who was small in size and would not be spotted, swam out to the hunters' canoes. She gnawed on their paddles until they were weak. Adik made his way boldly towards the island. When the hunters spotted the caribou, they hopped into their canoes and began to paddle. Determined to catch the intruder, the hunters paddled faster. Suddenly, their paddles snapped, leaving them stranded in the middle of the lake. With the coast clear, the team turned around once again and headed back to the island. Seeing that the hunters were out of the way, Otsig and Oho flew out to the lodge. After dropping Otsig off on the roof, Oho darted out past the front entrance. Taking the bait, the guards, Owatsak and Aegis gave chase. Back on the other side of the lake, Otsig quickly congratulated his team. Thanks for a plan well executed, but we need to keep going. The hunters are not far behind. So off they went, taking turns carrying the bag of summer into the northern world. In pursuit, not far behind, were the hunters. Clutching onto the bag of summer, the fisher escaped up a tall tree. On the ground, the hunters let loose a flurry of arrows. One of those arrows caught Otsig and carried him and the bag of summer high into the dark northern sky. It is in the stars where the fisher remains to this day, protecting his friends from starvation and death. He enters the spring running, carrying summer and the warm weather to the northern world. As summer turns to fall, an arrow strikes the fisher and he turns over to rest through the winter. In spring, he awakens to begin his journey once again. Not only Otsig lives in the northern sky, the great bear wanders that region as well. He is Mistai Masqua. And flying behind him are 7 birds, typical Viesisap. The Inuit Cree speak of the fate of Awiak Gasponatsa, bullies who misuse their power for personal gain. An ancient and powerful spirit, the Great Bear was the embodiment of this nature. Mistai Masqua ruled the land, and whenever he roamed, he would leave a trail of destruction. His voice could be heard echoing through the valleys and across the plains, forewarning his unwanted arrival. Everywhere he went, he would wreck homes, destroy food caches, and tear up vegetation. He killed all those who dared to stand up to him. This was too much for the other animals of the land to endure. It was time to put an end to Mistai Masqua's rampage. They gathered in the forest to devise a plan. All the animals in this northern land were present because they were all at the mercy of Mistai Masqua. 7 of the best trackers and hunters who could fly would have the greatest chance against Mistai Masqua. it would be Depakoe Biesisak, the 7 birds who would participate in the chase to bring him down. These birds were small in nature, but strong in heart. They knew it would take great will and determination to best the bear in battle. Of the 7, there was Grey Jay and Wren, Pigeon and Kingfisher, Hummingbird and Chickadee. Last and most reluctantly, there was Pipicho, the robin. All the other birds were willing, but Pipicho was unsure. Back then, robins did not appear as they do today. Pipichu couldn't fly high like Kingfisher, wasn't as fast as Hummingbird and Chickadee. She didn't feel she had anything to offer other than her sharp eye. Ravens did not fear Mistaimasqua. In fact, they benefited from his activities. They followed the great bear, swooping in to scavenge the remains. It was a relationship of the darkest kind, but it was good for the ravens. So off they flew to warn the great bear. Hearing what the other animals had planned, Mistaimasqua was outraged. He immediately set out to track down the 7-winged hunters to catch them off guard. Early in the 11th moon, towards the end of fall, the great bear confronted the birds. The 7 hunters took to the sky, beyond the reach of the approaching menace. Armed with their bows, they outmaneuvered the bear and pelted it with arrows from above. As what all bullies do when confronted with determination and courage, the great bear turned and ran. The bear and his pursuers moved so fast that they traveled high into the northern sky. Reaching the point of exhaustion, Mistaimasqua finally turned and stood up to face the oncoming hunters. All of the birds flew around and past the enraged bear, all except Pipichu, who was following far behind. With her life in peril, she pulled out her bow. With a quick snap, she let the arrow fly. Her aim was true. It caught the bear at just the right angle and opened up a gaping wound in his thick hide. With all his size and strength, Mistaimasqua shook his massive body. The force of the bear's violent shake blasted leaves from the trees, and blood from his wound cascaded over the autumn landscape. In the fall, the leaves on many trees turn red. For Pipichu, the robin, her chest stained by the blood of the bear, remains a bright crimson. As a sign of respect, the universe colored the robin's eggs a sparkling blue and dotted them like the stars in the sky. The fate of Mistaimasqua reminds us of what comes to those who use force to get their way. Pipichu still flies the night sky as the brightest of the 7 birds of Depakoe Biesisak. Together, she and the other hunters will always be chasing Mistaimasqua, the great bear. As the seasons pass, the stars move through the sky and bring us around to winter again. The seasonal cycle comes to a close. All life goes silent. The sun hides from the land as the nights grow longer, and Niska begins the long journey south. When it's time, Sisikwan the rattle will sound, and its vibration will summon life to begin once again. marking the beginning of one season and signaling the end of another. The stars provide us with a grand view of Nisawayski, all that is above and below, all over the land. With so many of us now living in cities, there are few visible stars in the night sky to offer guidance and inspiration. Even as remarkable as our technology may be at unveiling the mysteries of distant celestial objects, nothing replaces imagination that is free to explore the night sky. But in our busy lives, how many of us ever take time to find a truly dark place outside? Stand still and observe. When do we look up and acknowledge old ways of seeing, casting our eyes skywards, connecting to the world above? Beyond the bright lights, in the dark sky, Otsek the Fisher continues his long journey north, running, always running, to bring us summer once again.